I love that. I love that intro so much. I was like, it was swiveling around slowly. I was like, oh, it's a really
Yes.
cute snowman. And then it just got creepier and creepier for me. And I was like, oh, the smile.
Right. I was look, I clicked that one because I saw it had 30 seconds. And then I was like, wow, this is super Christmassy. Is it too late? I got super anxious about it as
So,
soon as I did it. Oh, hey everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our stream. We're trying to figure out a name. Help us figure out a name. Put it in the chat whenever you get a chance. But I am your host, Kaya Tolliver. DevRel here at Progress Chef. Here with my co-man, Dan. Introduce yourself, and then we'll
yeah,
introduce
I
our
am
guest
Dan,
of the
and
hour.
I'm Dan. I'm senior DevRel or Dev Advocate, Progress Chef as well. Oh my God, I've almost been here a year now.
Oh wow!
No, it'll be April. Well, I've been here a year in April now. Although, like, I feel like I've been here like forever now. Yeah, we're streaming every Tuesday and Thursday, and like this is our like main thing we do at the minute. We're looking at putting some new streams out there. But yeah, if you've got any ideas of stream names, we're doing like our fireside chats with our hackathon winners, or our main entrants over the next sort of month or two. I'm personally interested in some of these because I have so many questions, especially from Marcelos. I did some judging for this.
Yeah.
I've got a million questions. So yeah, got any feedback on these kind of things? Let us know in the chat on Discord and Slack, which we'll come to in a minute.
Yes.
And we are joined by Marcelo as well today from Microsoft. Can you do the whole rundown, Kaya? Because I have forgotten his full title.
Yellow is a cloud solution architect over at Microsoft, and our third place winner for the Automate for Good hackathon. So like there's a lot of things to talk about. First, like let's talk about you. Like just introduce yourself, Marcelo. Tell us about you. Tell us about what you do over at Microsoft, and then we could get into the your submission and winning project.
Yeah, hello, of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's really excited. As you were saying, I'm Marcelo Zambrana. I'm a data AI cloud solution architect over at Microsoft. I've been working there for the last 3 years, I think. But before that, I was an infra and app CSA. I specialize a lot in automation, DevOps. I love DevOps. And I keep saying that I automate because I'm lazy.
Right.
And I'm human. I make mistakes. And whenever I do something manually, especially typing,
Right.
I made a lot of mistakes. So that's why I love automation. And I also love data and AI. So I try to mix and merge both of them together.
Awesome. You know, I get that a lot. Like everybody, especially in engineering, like to throw out around the word lazy. And I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree. I mean, or maybe like the lazy in us makes us do our job better. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we use lazy to our advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do y'all think?
It's like I'm so lazy. I'm going to spend 3 days automating this. Could I have done it manually?
Right.
He's like, yes, I totally could have done it manually. I'm so
Right.
lazy. I'm going to spend more time automating it.
Exactly.
Hang on, I need to find an XKCD comic for this.
But especially like tags, like I have a dev box, for example, that I have everything in there. That I just like whenever there is a new tool or a new version, I just run and a task that updates my dev box constantly, right? So I don't have to manually go there and update a package or something, or a new version of Chef workstation, things like that, right? So those things that are easy are fast, but at the end of the day, if you adding them up, takes time. So I just, hey, every day check if there is a new version and install it for me.
Yep. So listen, guys, I did not go through our pre-flight checks. And before we get too deep into the convo, I gotta like plug all of our Twitters and say all the things that we're supposed to say before we start. So
too excited.
With that said, if you are not following us on Twitter, you should be. You will learn about all of our webinars and our live streams as they're happening, and a little bit beforehand. You'll learn about different things that we've got going on as far as releases and so forth and so on. Definitely follow us on Twitter. Also, want to pick Dan's brain and learn more about how he feels about Brexit. You should follow him on
An
Twitter
angry
too.
man. Still
But he
angry.
also just recently, Dan, you just posted what was it? What did you just post on Twitter? It was a demo. It was awesome. I retweeted it.
Oh, the demo. Was that my waivers demo?
Was it
It
the
might be my
waivers
waivers
demo?
demo. Yeah, I did a really it's a waiver stuff. I think it was waivers.
Yeah.
Let me find
Either
it.
way, it was cool. And I mean, I think it seems like you got a lot of traction with that one. So I think that was.
Yeah.
I
So
think you
like
should
Slack
keep
has
doing
this really nice feature where it will just record a really small snippet of a demo. So Slack have been introducing like huddles and a bunch of other like really nice interactive tools recently. And so I work by myself in the morning, so I'm just like recording demos and just chatting to cameras and being generally weird. But this is really, really cool because I'm just like, I've got like a 2-minute demo and Slack only give you 2 minutes. So you're like, right, well, we're doing a 2-minute demo on like waivers or something. And it's
Well, that's
really nice to
perfect for
just jump
social.
into, yeah, it's like a true bite-sized little thing.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's
Nice.
perfect for social. So that was perfect for Twitter. I was able to, you get like a actual nugget of information in that little 2 minutes. It's perfect. So yes, follow Dan for to learn what he feels about Brexit and to pick his brain on some tech stuff. um Also follow me on Twitter at Black Girl CT post chef stuff, but I also am like sometimes a little bit quicker on the live stream things. So you'll learn about things that we're about to go on live about, and I'm probably going to start doing some technical threads here. Got to start being more active. Next, definitely follow Marcelo on Twitter. What do you post about, Marcelo?
Mostly tech stuff, Chef, Terraform, GitHub. Yeah.
Yeah,
Automation, of course.
cool.
Things like that. Yeah.
So
I'm doing
like
it now. I'm doing
Lego.
it right now.
exactly, we're about to follow you right now.
Awesome. I need to get more active though. Yeah, that's for sure. That's one of my
Yeah,
goals for this year. Get more active on social media.
I think Twitter specifically for our community is just it's popping. It's where it's at. So like I've got to get more active too.
Yeah, there's a really interesting infrastructure as code community. Maybe I'll pop it up, and I'll stick it in the chat. If you're on LinkedIn, I apologize, I can't post it on LinkedIn, but it'll be on YouTube and Twitch in a second.
Oh, sweet.
But there's an infrastructure as code community on Twitter, and it's like 500 people big right now. But it's if you're on Twitter and you're talking about Terraform and Chef and AWS CDK with Go, that kind of stuff. That's really interesting. It's kind of
Sweet.
it's just starting up. The community hasn't been around for more than a month or so. So
Oh, but that's great. That's like perfect timing.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So if you are part of our community and part of the chef community, you should be on community Slack. There, you're gonna find more release related stuff, and you can ping any one of us and ask about any questions that you may have, or you can post your questions in the respective channels for the respective products that you're using, and you'll get experts in those products to answer your questions. So if you're not a part of community Slack, you should be, because it's a wealth of knowledge and a great resource. Discourse. So community Slack is where you're gonna get like your questions answered pretty much in real time, depending on where you're located, right, in the world. Discourse is more of a forum type of communication platform. We post notes about our community meetings, which do happen on community Slack. But we post notes about releases and also just, other questions from our community members that are more long form and forum style that would require, more of a long form answer. Definitely follow us there as well.
Discourse has been really helpful in the past for long form questions where you're going to post like kind of like think of it like Stack Overflow, and you're going to be waiting a few weeks, and you're all trying to like figure out how the hell something works. Slack tends not to be the best place for that,
because things get
especially
lost.
if you're not in one of our time zones, which is EMEA-ish, wave, or Americas. If you're not one of those time zones or time zone friendly, it tends to dip between those. If you like, let's say you're in Japan, discourse is your friend.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agreed. Speaking of which, we did talk about where we are in the world, because you, Marcelo, are in Virginia.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
That's right. Like, I used to live in Virginia. I used to live in Virginia Beach. And Virginia is the only place where you can have, or I've ever been, that you can have a beach, snow, deer, like all at the same time.
So I've got snow and deer near me.
No beach.
No beach. I'm
Virginia,
too far away from the beach.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. That's
Snow
pretty
and
sweet.
snow
Does
and
it snow on
deer
the beach?
Does
it snow on the beach? That's
No.
okay then.
On
That
the
would be
beach.
that would hurt my head.
It depends. When I was up there, because I went to a school, a Navy A school up there, and there was snow on the beach. I'm pretty sure it was close enough. Like, we were right there. Yeah. So, Marcelo, let's get into tell us about your developer journey. Like, how did you end up in DevOps? Where did your love for DevOps come from? Like, what got you here to being a data and AI cloud solution architect for Microsoft? Like, tell us.
Yeah, sure. I started early. I think it was when I was 8 years old. My dad registered me for a computer class. I think I was the youngest in that class. And the first class was to learn DOS. There was no mouse. Everything was command line with monochromatic monitors, for example. And to his surprise, I passed the class. So the next one I learned is to programming Logo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's just you set instructions to draw something on the monitor, right? And you could set a set of instructions to draw a tree, a sky, whatever you want. And it accepted loops. Is very, very, very child friendly. So you just, there's a turtle on the screen, say, hey, turtle, move to the right, move to the left, up and down, circles, loops, things like that. And the turtle will draw whatever you are instructed to him.
So I think I had this, but it was an actual turtle. So when you said Lego before, I was like, I'm pretty sure I did this. But I programmed it into a turtle, and then the turtle actually did the moving.
So yeah, it was similar. It was really nice because you could learn the basic of the basic instructions, right? If else, right? Loops, if you go count 4 steps and do these, things like that. So it was really nice. And from then I moved on to Pascal when I was in high school.
I mean, I'm assuming no one's heard of Pascal anymore, but
No,
I've heard of it.
Old then.
No,
you take it old school now.
Yeah. What happened to Pascal though?
I don't know, to be honest. I lost track of it. I think it was part of what's this name's company, Delphi. I think it moved into Delphi at some point. I don't remember very well, but it was the first. It was an introduction to C or C++, for example. right? But
Okay.
it was really nice. I remember I used to do games, chess, checkers, three in a row, things like that. So that was really nice. But I remember it had a limit. The file you could only have 2,000 lines. That was your limit. And after that, you have to move to something more complex, right? So it was not
Gotcha.
at the time, but it has a lot of limitations. Now I think about it, lots of limitations.
Okay.
And yeah, since then I knew I wanted to work with computers. And in
Mhm.
fact, I didn't own a computer until I was on my second year in university. So before that, it was just computers in school, university, library, things like that. So I owned my own computer when I was, yeah, first, second year in university. I remember
Oh,
it
so
was
that
an
was
old
probably
AMD 266 hertz. I think it had uh, a gig of RAM.
Oh,
wow. And so that, like, did you just stay up all night and program because you had your own computer now? Like,
Oh yeah, I felt so nostalgic. I remember installing Pascal at the time just to see how it was. Remembering trying to see if my old programs were still run, things like that, right? But yeah, it was. I remember it had like 20 gigs of in hard drive. So for at that time, I think it was wow, yeah, I can
wow.
download everything here. Um, remembering installing my first distro. I think at that time it was an old distro. I don't think it even exists anymore. It was Mandrake. I think it was acquired by, oh, it was SUSE. But yeah, it was really old. I remember in order to install, you had to have three to five CDs. Then you need to install it one by one.
What?
So
yeah.
yeah, it
So
Oh,
was.
I had
geez.
an Amiga. I don't know if you remember the Commodore Amigas.
Mhm.
I had one of those, and I think there was a game called Desert Strike, and it came on, I think, 8 or 12 floppy disks. So you'd like put them
Floppy.
in, and you'd load the
Oh,
game up, and you're
floppy
like, great,
gamer.
we're all good now. And then like load level number 2 up, and you're like, you need disk number 2 and 7 or something stupid. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is
Yes.
Yeah.
this is not fun.
And one thing I forgot to mention is that I am from Bolivia originally. So I moved
Okay.
to the United
Ah,
States like 10 years ago.
Oh,
that's cool.
So
wow.
yeah, I
So,
went to
like,
university back in Bolivia. I worked there, and then I moved here. So at that time, we didn't have internet, right? That's why we have to burn CDs and things like that. I didn't have internet at home, so everything had to be offline.
Yeah.
oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So, like, what's the software development industry like in Bolivia?
I think it's better now. To be honest, I see a lot more companies now that are
Mhm.
growing and doing a lot of outsourcing. That's for sure. That's how I came here, um,
Mhm.
because of one of those companies. Uh, I think there's a lot of great talent. Not because I'm Cameroonian, because I know.
Yeah.
And the community is still growing. It is amazing. Uh, I think the last time I went there, I went to evangelize cloud computing. At the time it was Amazon and Azure. I think GCP was in the
Mhm.
early days. Uh, and I haven't been there in, I don't know how long, probably 5 years. I should go there, to be honest.
Okay.
And, and I need to go there and evangelize DevOps and automation
Yeah,
now.
Yes,
totally.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Guys,
There
you've
you
heard of this
go.
thing. They're
I
like, yeah, of
wonder,
course we have.
right?
But
I wonder how many folks we have in our community in Bolivia. Like, I would be. I mean, South America in general. Like, I think because I'm from the Caribbean. So I know that there's a software development industry there, very small, but there's, you know, like knowledge is infinite out here now. I mean, we're in a global workforce, right? But there's not like I wonder how many people know about Chef in the Caribbean and South America. Like I wonder how many people use it. That will be interesting to learn and find out and see how many people would be interested to use it. I mean, it just, you know, we just don't have a presence there. I just don't see that. And I think it would be interesting to explore what that looks like. You know?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to build something, and everyone's got to build some sort of server, and then put. I say everyone.
Yeah.
Like if you've
Folks
got
gotta
if you're a company with a server, and then you've got to build some software on the server, and then you've got to like configure it, then you probably need some sort of configuration management software. So bada bing, bada boom, and that like that isn't an American problem, that isn't a UK problem, that isn't like
exactly.
that's just a problem.
Like, I wonder what
It's
folks
like,
are using down there now.
like,
You
just
know?
like yeah, sorry, they're using this other thing that's like much more awesome, and you're like, sorry, what?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You haven't heard,
So,
they'll be teaching us at some point. They'll be
oh, of
schooling
course.
us.
Of
That's what it is.
course. So, Marcelo, moving into like a little bit more technical things. What's your favorite CI/CD tool? Do you have
It's always
one?
the question. I do. I guess it depends. But right now, I'm really liking a lot GitHub Actions, to be honest, because it is so easy to use. So it's right there. Right, you don't have to install anything,
Yeah.
updates, plugins, things like that. They have their marketplace for multiple actions. Right, the community also has a lot of great open source actions they can use. So my go-to-go is GitHub Actions right now.
One.
Before, I think it was Azure DevOps, because it's kind of the same, right? It's just there, you just use it. You don't have to install anything. I used to use a lot of Jenkins back in the day, but at the end, it was more like a Jenkins administrator, like make sure it is patched, your plugins are up to date, things like that. So
yeah, you spend more time like managing Jenkins, don't you, than doing the other thing. So
exactly. So
yeah.
right now, GitHub Actions is my go-to-go.
I guess
It's
that's the
getting
nice
better.
thing about GitHub Actions, isn't it? Is you've got all these open source actions and you can create them yourself,
Yeah.
and then or you can use someone else's, and you can see what it all is, and it's not written in like a really confusing. Like if you've ever opened a Jenkins plugin up, you're like, I can
Does
see the source code, I just do not understand any of it.
Understand it. Yeah.
Whereas like GitHub Actions, there's a few ways of writing it, and they're all mostly readable. You can usually like
so
decipher what's going on.
well, like I mean, I haven't had the. I'm saying pleasure. I'm just gonna say pleasure. I haven't had the pleasure of using Jenkins. But tell me, like, what
Yeah.
do they have like a proprietary language or something like that?
I think it's just, hang on, is it Java or Groovy? Is it all written in Groovy? Let me just go find out.
Yeah, I think it is something like that.
Let's see.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. Jenkins is still powerful, right? It's being used a lot. It's especially here in I support government clients. Most of them they use
True.
Jenkins a lot. Commercial world they also use Jenkins because I think it was one of the very first tools doing that, right? I think before it was Hudson, and then it forked into Jenkins, right? So they are
Yeah.
very similar, and a lot of developers have the community is really huge, and I think now if you want to more into it, you can have cloud bees at the enterprise
Right.
level, right? So it has a lot
Yeah.
of support. But yeah, it is
Okay.
I
just
am going
having
to
to
go.
install Jenkins, configure it properly, security plugins. It takes a lot of time, right, to get started from scratch, right? In comparison to other tools, it is just you just use it and that's it.
Right. It's like a lot of it's less overhead, and you just well, it reduces all those essentially story points.
Mhm.
In DevOps?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just to get set up. If it takes you a week to get set up versus versus
20
having,
minutes.
yeah, 20 minutes, and then the week is spent actually making progress on what you're supposed to be making progress on. Like,
Mhm.
it's an ace in a hole. Like, you can't really argue with that. Right. So Definitely understand that. I think the majority of our folks say GitHub Actions. I have not used GitHub Actions. I've been a GitLab um, girl. I mean, that's just only my experience, so that's my preference. I just
But
a
GitLab
little
is
bit more comfortable.
pretty. Is that Marcelo's printer jumping in?
Uh-oh. Was that what that was?
Someone's printer's like, hi.
I'm
To answer
here.
your question, Aleppo, yes, the post-recording is all on YouTube. So if you go to, I think it's
Maybe chef's off.
youtube.com/chef.com. Let me go throw that on the screen in a second. Yeah, they're all once they're so once we've finished, they all get recorded and uploaded to YouTube. It'll probably be the latest on the list, but yeah,
Yep.
they're all there. But yeah, thanks
And
for
it's like
asking.
a live streams playlist or something.
Yeah, I think we're actually currently live on there as well, so you'll see this video just pop up straight away.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm going to go argue with my washing machine a second because it will not stop bleeping. So
Okay.
back with it.
Cool. So Marcelo, how long have you been using Chef?
Wow. I want to say around 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. It was. I don't want to say early, but yeah, it was. It was 6 years ago.
Tell me about
And
it. Tell me about like what product you've used, what products you've used, and like, maybe you don't have to talk about like what problems you've been solving. I guess you don't have to like be specific about companies, but tell me what products you've been solving.
at that time, I think it was the Chef Decay.
Okay.
In spec, I use a lot. I think the thing that got me in love a lot was the test-driven development that it uses. That
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to do unit and integration tests with Chef, right?
Yes.
So I have a developer background, and so that was this is awesome. Starting with the test just to make sure everything is right and you're doing the things you need to do. It was really nice, right? So I think that was the thing that got me the most, and I've been using that since ever. Everything that has to do with configuration management,
Mm-hmm.
I use Chef. In spec for auditing things like that. I remember I deployed Chef Server and Chef Automate manually,
Oh,
and
cool.
it was challenging. Let's say that because it was an environment that you had to be isolated offline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most of these tools, for example, whenever we want to install it, they reach to the internet to grab something, right? So we managed to fix that. It was great. But to be honest, I'm excited for the SaaS offering because the same at GitHub Actions, I just want to get something that is already there for me set up and I'm ready to use, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's kind of like the argument between like it's like some people need it on prem and want it on prem, and they have a big team to manage this thing, or you have it doesn't matter what product it is. So if you're using Kubernetes, or let's say you're using GitHub Actions, and then you could do self-hosted runners. Like if you need that, you can just totally go off and do that, and that like brings its own challenges. But sometimes you just want to get stuff running. Like sometimes you
Right.
just need to like.
Do
Sometimes you
things to
just want to
work.
like use Chef, and that's why so many people use Chef Manage, the online version,
yeah,
because they're like,
yeah.
I'll just create this new organization and I'll connect straight to that, and that's like that draws in so many people. I've seen the numbers for that, and it's truly insane. But it's like from a developer's perspective, or if you've got a small team and you're like, well, we don't have this central hub of people who are managing a Chef server and any that kind of stuff. Like we don't want to keep it, we don't want to patch it, we want to update it. And this
Right.
case, so many other pieces of software you just want to like bam out the door, right?
Exactly. Just make it work.
Yeah.
Just make it work.
Like, get out of my way. I need to do some actual work.
Mm-hmm.
Like So like if your core focus, I don't know if this goes for you more so, but like if your core focus like today would be the data analytics stuff. So what's the quickest way you can get your data analytics platform running and building? And you like bits of it need to be automated. Like your core goal is to get like the software configured. Your goal isn't to run a managed server.
Right.
Like that's that's not fun. I mean,
Exactly.
it's fun. It's not why it might be fun for other people, but it's not what you're there for.
To be honest, I think that when you deploy it manually, you learn a lot. I always reference Kelsey Hightower, Kubernetes the hard way, for example, right? If you really want to understand how it works, right, doing it that way, it helps, right? But you don't want to do that every month, right? Or everything that something is broken or multiple times because it's time consuming, right? Sometimes we don't realize all the benefits of
Mhm.
SaaS offerings, right, or managed services, and that, yeah, just I want to work. I don't want to manage it, right? I just want to use it.
Right.
Uh,
Exactly. Exactly. You want to do what like your job is versus, you
yeah,
know, having to, yeah, manage that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And again, Chef was the first configuration management I used, and I remember I got all the certifications one back when Chef had certifications, right? I think it was a Chef developer, administrator. I don't remember. I think there were 3 or 4 certifications. I
So
remember taking
we've
all
got
those.
badges instead now
Yeah,
of the
badges.
certificates.
I
Yeah.
think I remember it was the first certification I took that actually had hands-on labs in order to get the certification.
Oh, the
uh-huh.
labs are beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Amazon, GCP, Azure, I think Azure has used to have hands-on, but Amazon doesn't have hands-on labs for their certifications, for example, right? I remember Chef, they give you a VM, you have to SSH or do something in that VM, you have to basically fix the cookbook or fix the unit test, things like that, right? And it was, well, that's
Mhm.
really nice. So they really focus on actual work, right? Hands-on experience for their certifications. I remember that was a really big plus for me.
Yeah. Versus, yeah, that is true. Like we do still have so we have Learn Chef now, like where there's courses and there are labs on a lot of the courses still. Um
Mhm.
but the certifications similar to like AWS certifications, we don't have those anymore, unfortunately.
But I think that the goal behind the current Learn Chef is kind of the same as a certificate.
Yeah.
Is like
Yep,
knowing
we
you
get the
know the
badges.
stuff, like showing you know the stuff at the end of the day. Like you don't get a certificate, but you get like I can do Habitat, I can do this, I can do this, I can deploy with this. And we've taken the labs idea over with us into the new product, which is
Hmm.
quite nice.
Mhm.
But the labs just keep getting better and better and better. We're redoing a
Agreed.
course now, and we're redoing another course. And it's you know like it, taking some of these courses. I'm like, wow, it's just really nice to use
Yeah.
as a user, not as a. I, I'm also administrator on this. Like I'm kind of cheating, but yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes. I agree with everything you just said, Dan.
Well, you cheat too.
Yeah. I do. I actually think the quizzes are really good too, over in Learn Chef. I mean, they're like I've actually had the privilege of creating a course on Learn Chef since I've been here, and I really feel like the energy that's put behind it and all the coursework. I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to create a lab. Steve does that like a champ, but I absolutely agree that I mean, it's nice to have like something. I guess what you put certifications on your resume, but I definitely think the knowledge that we're still disseminating is top notch over at Learn Chef.
Yep. the hands-on experience I like. So the labs like kind of force you to be hands-on keyboard, right?
Yes,
So
and
that's
that's
what I.
really where you get the knowledge. Like I'm a what is it, kinetic learner, like learn by doing. So you
Yeah.
know, it definitely helps to have those labs for sure.
We have a viewer question.
Ah,
Da, da, da. What other proprietary tools do you use alongside Chef? So I think I can probably answer. One of them is Terraform, isn't it?
It is indeed. So yeah, my tool for provisioning is been Terraform. That's probably I started with around the same time as Chav, and since then again I fall in love with it. Uh, Mostly because it supports pretty much any cloud, right?
Yeah, pretty
Uh,
much.
so I remember I started with CloudFormation templates, and I hated them. ARM templates, I hated them. And then I
You
saw
just
Terraform, and I was, wow, it's just one language, the same.
yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are. Anything else, providers for on-prem, vSphere. So, and yeah, it was amazing. I always use Terraform for cloud provisioning and Chef for configuration management. So I think it's both combination
there you go.
very powerful.
Yeah, I've always liked they've got this loop where the plan and apply loop.
Yep.
Like, I really like the fact that you can pretty much there are exemptions to this rule, but like you can pretty much do a plan, not do a make a change to your infrastructure and say like if I do a Terraform plan right now, I'll change these things, this number of things here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when you're talking about some of the resources, like the API can't be stopped out when it can't like tell you exactly what it's going to do in the back end. But it gets you so close to like gives you so much confidence that you know that right, if I've got a loop here and I'm going to create three EC2 machines, you know that Terraform is just going to go off and create you three. So there's no question about it. And like seeing that and seeing the resources changed, and then like seeing the code, it's really really close, isn't it? Like there's not much. There's not many abstractions, as you would say. Like there's not much magic in the background or interesting like coding loops. It's just you write what you get most of the time, which I think is it lowers the barrier to entry. I'd say. So, have you found that? I guess with Terraform, like, do you find with Terraform that it's easier to learn the new Terraform bit? Like if you're doing something new with Terraform.
Yes, I think Terraform is if you want to do infrastructure as code, I think Terraform is a great start, especially if you plan to support multiple cloud providers, right? If you're gonna go native, probably you can use one of the native tools, right? If you're gonna just focus on one, but I still think that I'll go with Terraform. It's just one language to learn. It's really easy. And the way you do the changes, it is amazing, and it has great support. The community is amazing. Terraform, you can find provider pretty much for anything you need, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think the
Yes.
Terraform providers are pretty. I mean, I'm sure there was a list here. I had somewhere like the registry, Terraform registry now.
Yeah,
Like the number of
Terraform
providers.
registry.
Yeah.
I
And
think
keep
that's almost as
growing.
important. You know, the support. I think it's almost as important as the ease of use of the tool. You know, and the
So they've
community
got
surrounding
like
it.
35 pages of providers. So if
Wow.
there's
Yeah,
an API for it, they've probably got a provider for it. I think
exactly.
Domino's. There's a
Oh
Domino's. So
yeah,
there's a Domino's provider. So let me just find it.
you can order
Oh wow.
pizza with Terraform. That's what I've heard.
You can. I'm not sure it's not an official one. But yeah, there was a Domino's has an API. So the pizza shop has an API, and you can order it via Terraform, which is
Wow.
The power of open source.
Right. Like, I wonder whose idea that was.
someone
It was
really
definitely
hungry.
not somebody that wanted to be lazy. It definitely wasn't that.
Probably someone on call,
Way to
and
bring it back around.
they're like in the middle of doing some Terraform thing. A Domino's Terraform. Where is it?
Yeah. I'd be interested to see how that works. So let's talk about the hackathon. Okay, so folks that are viewing that don't know, we did a hackathon as a part of, or it was like an offshoot of ChefConf. Started on the last day of ChefConf, and it was called the Automate for Good Hackathon. And basically, what we asked was,
Oh,
there
he's
you
got the
go, got the
T-shirt.
swag, got the Automate for Good swag. Awesome. The only
Yeah.
rules were that you needed to use a chef product, and you needed, like, what you created needed to be for the good of DevOps or the good of humankind, right? It was really broad, and we had some really, really, really great entries. And Marcelo's entry won third place.
Yay.
So
I
congrats to
can't believe we
you.
waited 45 minutes to applaud you, because it was like, I've dropped a link at the bottom. If you
Yes,
get some
definitely.
time, the full explanation of which we won't go through today because we will not do it justice. But Marcelo's introduction about how it all works is on that page there. There's a little YouTube video uh,
Hmm.
at the bottom there. There's the inspiration of what it does. We'll kind of skim over some of this in a minute, but if you want a full detailed look at that, I'll leave the link at the bottom for 5 minutes.
Yes,
It's really good.
it really, really is. Let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, like, because I see you've got the diagram. I mean, Dan, you were a judge. Like, when you were judging this, I mean, I guess we could get into like what your thoughts were.
Yeah, so we kind of like
Um,
we had entries that were there's a bunch of criteria for the entries, and so this one got marked obviously really highly by me,
right,
but it was big and it was complex and it did a bunch of stuff, and I was like, oh, it was meaty. It was one of the more meaty ones. It was probably one of the meatiest ones I had there.
right.
Apart from maybe the first place prize, but like I think our brains were melted by that one. I saw it eventually, and I was like, "Oh fuck, yeah, they've definitely won this one." But this was
Yeah.
so flipping close, because there's lots of moving parts. There's other tools. There's InSpec, obviously, because I have a big soft spot for InSpec.
Hmm.
There's GitHub Actions on there. There's all this stuff on there. There's like just loads of moving parts, and then
Terraform.
you've got this like final moving working product at the end of the day. Comparing this to one of the other ones I also marked really well was just it was a GitHub action for Azure. I think it was using InSpec. It was like an InSpec on Azure was the action, and that was like 30 lines of code, and I was like, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. It was simple. It was short. It was, I like so like that was the range of entries for the hackathon were mad. Um, the quality was also a bit mad. Like some people were like, I'm going to get something out there. I'm going to treat it like a true hackathon. I'm going to try and do something as quickly as possible. And then there was stuff like this, which was just like, wow, that is polished.
That right.
Yeah.
That too. Like, tell what inspired you to do this, the product that you did. Like, I mean, tell us about it. So it's a SWIM, system wide information management cloud distribution service.
Well,
What is that? Mm.
as I was saying before, I started as an app and infra, and I was helping automating a lot of tasks. So I got involved in this project that a fellow data and AI CSA needed help. And I've been seeing the same pattern, right? Data scientists, data analytics, they have these data analytics projects. They want their environments fast, right, to do their job, right? Like when I use Chef Manage, I just want to use our GitHub Actions. I want to use it, right? I want my environment ready. But creating these complex environments takes time, right? And most of the times they do it manually. And whenever they have to replicate it, they forget a step or a configuration and things like that, right? And I keep seeing that in the projects and customer side support. So for this specific project, what I try to do is that we can build these environments faster for them to start their job, right? The reason I chose that is because that assume data is publicly accessible. Could be taxi data, could be highway data, or any data, public data set. But I chose that because I'm familiar with it. But just an example. At the end of the day, the goal was to create an environment to analyze that data. Right? It doesn't matter which data you want to analyze. The key is to have the environment ready. So what I did is try to automate as much as I could for them. So they just need to go in Databricks Notebook in this case and start running their models against the data, basically, right?
Oh,
So basically, try to create something at managed data analytics environments for them, right? They just log in and hey, my environment's ready. I have everything here. Thank you so much, right? I didn't want them to
right.
worry about, hey, I need to secure my VM. I only need all these ports, all the networking, routing, configuration, libraries that I need in Databricks or Spark. Yeah, right. Things like that. I just wanted to them to, hey, if you do this, have your environment, it doesn't matter where, right? So that was my motivation, right? And I've been doing automation for a lot of time, and I really wanted to transition in data and AI. But when I transition into AI, I also want to bring all the DevOps best practice I've learned along the way, right? I think that I think it's a lot of benefit of merging both, and I think it's a great combination, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Most Yeah, and I think that was inspiration. And the other key inspiration, I wanted to be open source, right? Everything I did in that project is open source. You can fork it, you can clone it, you can improve it. And since it is Terraform, you can easily create a counterpart in a different cloud provider or on-prem if you need it, right? So everything is as code. It has some best practices for unit testing in spec, Chef spec, and in Chef, for example. So you make sure the configuration is properly done, right? The GitHub Actions has a step to run the tests before it uploads the cookbook, right? So you have some quality checks in there, right? So I tried to add all those best practices in the project as a template, let's say, for future projects, right?
Gotcha.
And yeah, so it is open source. So that was my goal, to be honest, to be open, right? So everyone can use it and see it.
Yes. Um, Question. So, okay. So you were trying to solve a specific problem that, like with this project. Okay, so you have data analysts that have to spin up entire environments in order to analyze the data, the flight data.
Mhm.
How much time did you save these data analysts with, or, I'm not sure if anybody's
Mhm.
used it yet, but how much time would be saved by
I
using your
remember I
automation?
remember the when they tried to build this environment manually, it would take weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Mostly because you need to interact with multiple teams, security, networking, right? The server team to do all the configurations on those VMs. The Kafka part of it, somebody needed to create a Kafka, configure, connect it to the data source, and then somebody need to deploy the Databricks workspace, connect it to Kafka, things like that. So there's a lot of moving pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it used to take weeks.
Jeez.
So now it's just down to half an hour probably if you go from
Wow,
nothing to just
that's
spin it
pretty
up.
awesome.
That is the
So
power of automation, people.
it is.
That is the
Yeah.
power of automation.
And you can create as many as you want, right? Maybe you have a dev test, you want to test something quickly, you spin up, use it, and then destroy it, right? You don't need to leave the cluster running 24/7 because I also want it to be a little bit of cost optimized, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
These environments are meant to be disposable, right? It's like you don't. Maybe the production environment is going to be 24/7, but your dev environment doesn't need to be running all the time. So you can just create one in the morning, you do whatever you want, get your data, the results you wanted, and then destroy everything, right? And start fresh the next day.
Yeah.
So
And that probably wasn't feasible before because it took
no,
a week
no, no.
to spin something up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even something that's wrong with the environment. If you've got an environment that takes a week or days to create, then people never want to destroy that environment ever. They never want to get rid
Right.
of it. They're like, I'm not letting go of this thing that I took.
A week of my life.
Went through all the paperwork to get this. I went through all the 15 teams to get this. I'm never letting this go. So
Yeah.
you're just like,
Right.
and now you're like, just click a button. Oh, we're good.
Yeah, just throw it away because you're not
Exactly.
you're not using the resources. You know, like it's basically. I mean, before something like this, folks would be paying to have this environment like all the time.
Hmm.
Okay, this is huge.
It is.
So I used to work in another place that used to do data similar but very different stuff. And we ended up doing it all on Kubernetes instead. So that it's all Docker containers and other stuff. And
Hmm.
like Kubernetes would then like auto scale things down at night. So everyone had every developer had their own environment. And regularly we had like a kill all button. Like if they just messed things up, they were just like just kill and start it again. Just like wipe it. If you've got your data analytics environment into such a state, which is super easy with some tools.
Hmm.
Oh my god, what was the Python tool chain began with an M. Anyway, that is just it was a pain in the butt, and like you could easily get your data analytics environment into such a state that you couldn't use it in the end, and then you couldn't upgrade it, and you couldn't get your data sets out. So we were just like, you just click a button, it wipes it. And honestly, like having a fresh environment for a data analyst is so nice
Yeah.
because then it's reproducible. Because then if you can take your current data set and then put it into a different place, you know that what you're doing, it's all about the data. It's not about how
Right.
it's all about the
Any
data and
environment.
reproducible ways of getting the same data to prove that the calculations you did are like if you have a record of how you did the calculations, that's even better really.
Mhm.
If you don't have that, then yeah, it just like how did you get this answer? Just happens,
Just
right?
happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's huge. So how long did it take you? How long did this project take you?
Uh, um, I want to say a couple of weeks. The reason it took a little bit more time is because on the Chef part, the integration with Terraform and Chef, uh, Terraform used to have these provisioners, right? And remember, there was an official Chef provisioner that you could use to, as soon as you get a VM up and running, you can just bootstrap it with your Chef server. That thing got deprecated now. It's not there anymore since version 0.15. And I wanted to use a cleaner way to do that integration between Terraform and Chef. And the cleanest way I found was use Cloud Init inside the VM, right?
Yeah.
So that way it will be agnostic. It doesn't matter where you're running the VM, right? The Cloud Init, the script will just trigger. It will connect to your Chef server and it will bootstrap the node automatically as soon as it starts. So that took a little bit of research. I didn't see a lot of really good documentation on that, and not on the Chef side. Terraform or cloud any documentation, but just putting the pieces together, it worked, right? And I also wanted to be secure, right? I use GitHub secrets to do that, so you have to add the. Oh, sorry, my printer is again.
I was like, you're in a bit of a conversation there. Let me put in a second.
Right.
But yeah, so all those things, and I also wanted to be the integration with Databricks to be seamless as well, right? So the less interaction, human interaction, the better. So I think doing the actual project was 1 week. The other week was research and making sure everything was secure and elegant, let's say.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Have you participated in any other hackathons before?
no, not at this level. I remember when ChefCon was in person, the last day I remember it was like a hackathon day. I remember. And I remember I think it was one of the last ChefCon in person. I participated, and it was about improving inspect documentation.
Mm-hmm.
But
Cool.
it was free, right? There were no prizes. It was just a bunch of guys in a conference room hacking. But at this level, this is the first time I'm doing this.
Nice.
I mean, it was really fun. It was amazing.
Nice. So like, okay, because I this was the other hackathons, the Chef Conf hackathons are pre when I joined. So this was like my first chef hackathon experience. I think it was pretty cool. What would you say? Like, I guess that was my last little question. Like, what would you say as far as being in person, and hacking away at something maybe benign, or versus having a little bit more time remote and having being able to compete. Like, which would you prefer? What's your
I don't
preference?
know, to
Or it
be
could be something
honest.
totally different too.
It has pros and cons on both sides. To be honest, I don't miss the in-person events a lot. That human interaction, like coding by side and learning something. Hey, let me look at this. Hey, let me help you with these things like that. It's just sometimes instantaneous, spontaneous things, right? That you learn.
That's true.
But most of the time, it's just 1 day, probably 2 days, things like that, right? But on this side, when it's remote, it is you have. I think we had like 2 months, a month, or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
So it was
6 weeks?
It was
6 weeks.
Yeah, like 6 weeks, 2 months,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So for this kind of projects that are complex, probably it's better, right? Because if you're gonna present something like at this level, probably it's not gonna be done in 2 days, right? It's really
Right,
difficult.
for sure. For sure,
So
you
if you're gonna
wouldn't be
present
able to
something,
create this in 2 days.
yeah. So doing all the research is nice, having time to do that, right? I think if you wanna do a hackathon that is complex and you wanna something bigger, I think remote is nice. We have plenty of time. But something you just wanna, hey, let's do this hack for this specific future, or let's come up with something nice. I think the in-person hackathons also has their plus, and being in person, human interaction probably is the key factor there.
Yeah.
Brainstorming with someone else is really nice.
I think if we were able to do a hackathon where like the first day or so we were in person, or maybe the first day or two we were in person, folks were able to like team up and everything, and then we went off and did the things remotely and then judged. Oh, that would just be amazing, right?
That would be nice. Nice
Because then you have a
combination.
pool of
Yeah.
ideas, and then because
Yeah.
the first bit is so hard. Like, what do I want to do? Like, is
Mm-hmm.
there a problem that I've got that currently needs automating? Is there a thing that I don't even like? So when we were coming up with ideas for like what were people gonna like what are they gonna enter? Like we've seen some entrants. We've seen people like people like there's 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, like all these people joining the hackathon. You're like, what are they gonna do? Like, are they going to use Habitat? Are they going to use Chef? Are they just going to use Inspec? Turns out like none of those sometimes was the answer.
Right.
Like some of those are like they're going to do they're going to do something that helps Chef do a thing, but doesn't actually use Chef. Also valid entry. I just like this, like, it would have been nice to like talk to those people, and then you can like give them feedback as well, like really, really early on. We're like, yeah, that's a cool idea, but maybe you want to like tune it a bit before you go off and like spend 6 weeks on it.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And then, just some folks, there's a lot of people who were brand spanking, and like they would have, I think, having a combination in-person online event would have been, it would have been good to have mentors on site, to help with early idea formation and like some technical, maybe not participate in the ideas really, but you know what I mean? Like, say, oh, this sounds like it could actually work. This is something that we do. This is something that our products could do, So
we've got a well-deserved shout out from Olivia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
She's awesome.
Yeah, Turo. I know that what you did there with the hackathon entry was like, and you said it took you 2 weeks. When you told me it took 2 weeks, I was saying, did it really? I mean, like, it would have taken me a lot longer. Like, there's so many moving parts, and I guess you've got a lot of the knowledge of how the underlying systems work, and they could be automated.
So, well, to be honest, I do have a lot of Terraform experience, right? So I already have like templates to create a VM, VNets, networking, things like that, right? On the Chef side, I've also been working with Chef for 5 years, right? So, and I already have tests that are kind of a standard across of your cookbooks. You can just reuse, right? The GitHub Actions, there are some good GitHub Actions for Chef, Terraform, right? You just grab them and just use them, right?
Did you? I'm gonna try and find out actually which GitHub Actions did you use for Chef? Because I'm just gonna.
There was one from one of the Chef SUS.
That might have been Jason. So this is all Jason's fault now. It's a very small community.
It is, and I still have a peer that I need to send him to some changes.
Oh yeah, we can. I mean, he'll ignore it. No, he will. He honestly, in all seriousness, he would love like all PRs. That stuff is.
And the fact that I didn't have to install anything, right? Everything was. I used Chef Managed Servers, GitHub Actions, things like that. Everything was already there. I didn't spend any time installing or configuring something for it, right? Or everything was already there for me. So it was just coding and
It's really, really cool.
Nice.
Where was
awesome.
it? So I'm just trying to find your GitHub link, because if people want to see the code.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, Dan.
Be kind. Be kind.
All feedback is welcome.
I think let me just pop it on the captions for those people who are not.
Yeah, for the LinkedIn folks that can't see this.
For LinkedIn folks.
Chat.
Yeah, that's the link. Yeah, everything is open source.
So where are we? GitHub workflows. Let's have a quick look. The Kafka stuff. In fact, I'm gonna check out. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Chef install. There's a Cookstar stuff. Yeah, brilliant.
So I tried to reuse as much as I could, right? So don't reinvent the wheel.
Right, exactly. Especially when ever, especially if it works, but especially when you're on a time crunch.
Oh yeah. So this one, where is it? So this line here, this is like magic. It does so much. There's 2 lines here. In fact, most of it's actually you can probably you really need that line. That's the secret line for doing like go grabbing. I think the default install is Chef in. Is it Workstation by default, or is it Infra? I think it's just Infra client by default. But that has like a bunch of options to like install InSpec or Workstation or Infra or you can also install Sync client and all of the like open source alternatives. I say open source alternatives. We're still open source. Like the alternatives from like Sync Workstation, that kind of stuff. So like that tiny little line there just
saves you a lot of work.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool. Well, we are actually over time. Is there anything that you want to call out before we wrap up, Marcelo? Anything you want to plug?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me here. It was awesome. To be honest, when I submitted the entry, I wasn't expecting to be in the top 3. I think it is a cool project, but I'm sure there are going to be a lot of better ones. So it was a surprise when I got the notice, right? I'm hoping you're gonna do the same in the future. More of these is awesome, right? And I love Jeff. I've been working with Jeff for the last 5-6 years. So yeah,
cool.
It's great.
If you've got any feedback on like, or you want to see a different topic or a different focus or any of that kind of stuff, like, and this goes to anyone in the chat and whoever else sees this on YouTube after. If you've got any feedback on the hackathon or you want to see something else different for next year, let us know. Just give us some feedback in the comments and the questions, like kind of in the captions or whatever. Just let us know how you want to change it or how you want to see it. Like, oh yeah, if you just like make this a bit more clear, or if you didn't do this, or you could just go like, what is Automate for Good? Could you have explained that a bit better?
Exactly.
Whatever
we can do to improve.
Times, and actually turns out like it's deliberately open because we want as many people to submit as possible. And good did just mean like, don't be a bugger, like don't be mean, don't be like, try and do something for the good of everybody. And that was like, everyone was like, is this really good? And I'm like, yes, the answer is yes. Like the answer is always yes. Which is always surprises people.
Yes. Cool. Right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marcelo.
Thanks to you guys. This was great.
Yeah, it was great. We had a lot of fun getting to know you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see you at a ChefConf.
Yes.
Sometime soon.
Crossing my fingers
for it soon. As soon as we've got dates and we've got it confirmed, we will start letting people know because hopefully, I think we're having a hybrid event this year. Also, again, to be confirmed.
That's what the rumor is.
There's a rumor mill. Like, it's just going to start the rumor mill off.
Yeah.
But we're in like early planning stages, so we're very excited for hopefully seeing people in person. We'll see what happens.
That'll be nice.
All right.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
All right.
See you next time.
See you next time.